juice is temporary. You know, anyone can obtain the juice or something. The sauce. The sauce is forever. That's the sauce, man. It sticks around. It's thick. It's hard to move.
Hey all you cool cats and kittens, once again it's Mr. Brown. I changed the scenery mode at my desk today. I just felt like sitting here, a little change of scenery. Hey, so we're continuing our talks about adolescence and kind of what's changing in your life. And so today we're going to be talking about behavioral maturity and simply just kind of changing our behavior in our lives. It's really kind of simple stuff. I mean, all that it really means is you're going to be looking forward to doing bigger, better stuff. So right now you're in middle school. Soon you'll be going up to high school. Then you'll be learning how to drive, you'll be graduating, going to college, getting a job, you know, so on and so forth, because that's the cycle of life, and it doesn't stop. So today we're going to be talking about all of these awesome things that we're going to be get to in our lives. Kind of like the Spider-Man principle says, with great power comes great responsibility. And we have to make sure that we're making really good decisions with our lives, making good choices, making good decisions. It all goes hand in hand. We have to make sure that we can handle the bigger and better stuff. So up until December 20th of 2019, tobacco could be purchased by anybody who was 18 or older. But everybody knows that smoking isn't good for you. It's been common knowledge for a long time that smoking isn't good for you. Anything that goes into your respiratory system or anything that's going into your lungs, it's no bueno. It's clogging up all the bronchioles. You can't get all the oxygen in. And we've seen the issues that come of any sort of tobacco, chewing tobacco, smoking, anything like. So in the world of tobacco products, there's really one thing that kind of links them together, and it's this chemical called nicotine. Now nicotine is the chemical that is found in it's like cigarette smoke, in e-cigarettes, in chew tobacco, in I don't know, pretty much anything you can name, cigars, pipe tobacco. It has one chemical that really separates it all, and it's called nicotine. Nicotine is the addictive chemical. It's actually classified as a drug because of its addictive properties. Now, what's really new about these the e-cigarettes and the vaporizer is that you're mostly getting nicotine instead of the other harmful chemicals. Well, what they don't tell you is that you're still really getting harmful chemicals in your body. So with the e-cigarettes, you're getting more nicotine. However, it's increased amounts of nicotine per hit of, let's say you're using a Juul, you're going to get more nicotine per hit, so therefore you're going to be more addicted. But there's also other chemicals that go along with these products. The biggest issue is in vaporizers, where they say that it's mostly water or the vapor is what you're inhaling. What they don't tell you is you're still inhaling actually fine particles in what's called an aerosol. Aerosol really just means that it's very fine particles, kind of like dust, but not quite. And that's what you're breathing into your lungs. Now, everybody knows that you shouldn't breathe anything into your lungs except for air. Even humid air is fine. And that's why everybody thinks that these vaporizers, which are the new big thing, are okay. Because they think, oh, it's just, humid air going into my lungs that has a flavor and, it's all fine and dandy. But it's really not. The chemicals that you're putting into your body are FDA approved technically, and that's how they get you. That's how they say that they're safe, because it's all FDA approved substances. But it's still not good to put it in your lungs. Let's say you're eating a salad. Is it safe to put a salad in your lungs? No. It's basically that same principle. It's kind of like, the actual chemical is propylene glycerin, and so what it is it's kind of like an artificial sweetener, kind of like Sweet and Low, but you breathe that into your lungs, and so that's where the flavoring comes from, but you're still putting stuff into your lungs, and it's just really not good for you. It goes the exact same thing with e-cigarettes, and a lot of people think e-cigarettes and vaporizers are basically the same thing, but they're not. Juul has more chemicals in it that can still cause cancer. It still has the carcinogens. It doesn't have the really thick stuff like tar or what else do cigarettes have? Rubber. There's so much stuff in there. But it doesn't have quite as bad of stuff, but it still has carcinogens and other chemicals in it that can still be harmful to your lungs. Vaping can also be considered to be a gateway drug to the rest of, the drug spectrum. So, as I said a little bit ago, nicotine itself is actually a drug. It's very addictive, and it has properties that can make it almost impossible, if not impossible, to quit using. And so let's say let's say that effect starts to wear off and you need more and more and more nicotine, you might opt for something that's a little bit stronger to give you that high that nicotine gives you. And so people might often start to go to marijuana or any sort of opioid pill, any sort of over-the-counter or prescription drug that can be abused. And so that's, in a way that nicotine or even e-cigarettes and vaping can be considered the gateway drug. Everybody knows that it's not good. People continue to do it anyways. I don't agree with it. I don't see the use for it. Never have, probably never will. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But on December 20th of 2019, Tobacco 21 was passed. And so now across the country, you have to be 21 years old or older to purchase tobacco products. Really what it does is it eliminates the possibility of high school students or younger from getting tobacco products, be it chew, be it cigarettes, cigars, pipe tobacco, whatever, you name it. It came about because there's this thing that came around called e-cigarettes came around, juuling, vaping. These are all things that have become more, they've been advertised to teenagers, to younger people to try to get us smoking. And it kind of irritates me that happened because I thought we were so close as a society to eliminating tobacco use, nicotine consumption. I thought we were so close. But that all got thrown away as soon as juuling, as soon as vaping became a thing. I thought we were close. I thought we almost eliminated it. But I was wrong. We went back to doing the same old thing where we're putting unnecessary chemicals into our body like nicotine. I don't even know what all's in e-cigarettes. It's all garbage that you don't need to be putting into your body. That's just me. But that's a decision that many people make. They decide to take a hit of a Juul. They decide to try that first cigarette. They decide to chew for the first time. And these are all decisions that eventually lead to something bad in the end. Everybody says there's only a chance of developing cancer. Well, yeah, there's a chance of developing cancer, but there's a certainty of other issues later on down the road. So everyone's body is different, and chances can't be measured, but they can be predicted. And genetics are a very good way of figuring out what your chances are. So I'm going to kind of use the example of distracted driving to kind of illustrate that chance. Now you have the least chance of wrecking if your attention is solely on the road. You can see everything around you, you can see what's behind you, in front of you, to the sides, what's going on, the road, everything. You have no distractions. However, your chances of being in a car accident are raised every single time you add a distraction. So let's say I have glasses, but I'm not wearing them, so I can't quite see the road as well. That's one impairment, so that's one thing that's increasing my chance of not being able to stay accident free. Now let's say I just went through the drive-thru of Wendy's or something, and I have, I don't know, the Baconator. I have a Baconator in my hand, I'm driving, and I'm eating a burger, and I don't have my glasses on. My chances of getting into an accident are even higher. Now let's say, and this is probably impossible, I've never tried it, I never will try it, let's say you're not wearing your glasses, you're eating a Baconator, and you're trying to text and drive at the exact same time, all while you're driving. Your attention is not on the road whatsoever, and your chances of being in an accident are at pretty much the highest chances I can think of. I mean, at that point, you're not even driving with your hands, you're just using your knee, burger in one hand, phone in the other hand, looking up and down. You're not paying attention at all. Your chances at that point are the highest of being in an accident. That exact same thing goes back to getting diseases if you choose to smoke or vape. Let's say there's no history of lung cancer in my family, and I decide to vape one time. Probably not going to do anything to me. Let's say there's no history of lung cancer in my family, but I decide to become a extreme vapor. The chances that I'm going to develop lung cancer are still higher than if I just hit it at one time, but it's still not necessarily guaranteed. But your chances of developing lung cancer are greater. Now let's say you have a very severe risk of lung cancer because everybody in your family, whether or not they've smoked, has developed lung cancer in some way, shape, or form. and let's say even if you only hit a Juul once, your chances are still pretty high of getting lung cancer. But let's say you have that history of lung cancer and you're an everyday smoker, you Juul, you do whatever, your lungs are basically destroyed. That's almost guaranteeing you to get lung cancer at some point. So, and like I said, everybody is different, and every single person's body is different. So you're not guaranteed to get these diseases, but the more chances, or the more you need to give yourself a fighting chance, is what I'm trying to say. If you have that history, don't do something that's going to harm you. Why would you do that? That's dumb. That's dumb. I don't even know what to say at this point, because there's so many people out there that have that history of disease, of cancer, of everything, and they still decide to make bad decisions. I honestly don't have the words for it, and that's all that I can say about that. But just make sure that you understand that every single time you hit a Juul, every single time you decide to smoke, every single time you decide to put something into your body that shouldn't be there, you're increasing your chances of giving yourself whatever. It's not guaranteed, but you're not. So even in doing research for this video, depending on the website that I found, there's always a bias as to, if vaping is good or not. So if you look at websites that are more reputable, like websites that are cancer societies, American Heart Association, well-known reputable sources, they'll always say, no, don't smoke, don't ever consume any sort of nicotine, anything that goes into your body that shouldn't be there is bad. And that's fine, I wholeheartedly agree. But you look at other sources that are, generally speaking, they're like the tobacco companies that make, like e-juice, the liquid that goes into vaporizers. Different companies like that, they'll say, well, it's not that bad. I mean, all it is yada yada yada. They'll explain the process, and they explain why it's better than X product. So all of the like Juul, I think there's Blue, Easy Smoke, I think is one. I might have made that up. But all of these other companies, they say, oh, well, we don't have this, like cigarettes. Cigarettes are kind of like the poster boy of, or the poster child of don't do this. And I think it's fine. I think better alternatives are still better. However, if you're going from nothing, so if you don't smoke, staying smoke-free, not consuming nicotine is always going to be your best choice. And so I think in the media there's so many different, there's always that bias that smoking is cool. I know if you watch a lot of TV shows, they'll show the old gentlemanly thing is to, kick back in your barber chair with like a pipe or something and talk about, that's like the masculine thing to do, or smoking cigars. And yeah, maybe that's the masculine thing to do, but is that really healthiest for your body? You have to look at the bias, and you have to make decisions for your own. If you want to be cool and masculine, go ahead and smoke cigars and pipe tobacco, pipes. By all means, go for it. However, you have to look at the other information around you. You have to triangulate, or you have to find information from all sorts of different, all different angles. You're not going to have the same VO2 max. You're not going to be able to take in the same amount of oxygen. You're going to have to breathe harder. All kinds of issues. That's just smoking alone. And like I said, that's my opinion. Maybe there's some benefit to it. I don't know. But that's just me. But any time that we make a decision, be it good or bad, we go through this process of decision making. And everybody goes through it. It might happen in the blink of an eye. It might take, you might have a year or so to make decisions. And it all depends on, what it is. So I'm going to use the example of vaping, or